Hi friends. So today I'm going to show you the various methods employed by speaker manufacturers to cool the voice coil in a driver. So now, as you know, when the temperature of the voice coil rises, there is an increase in the impedance, and this rising impedance results in a drop in the SPL. Also, as you pump in the full rated wattage of the speaker, the voice coil quickly heats up, and if not cooled appropriately, the result will be a catastrophic thermal failure. So now speaker manufacturers are in constant race to produce speakers that can handle higher wattages, and for this they have developed various methods to cool the voice coils down. There are two ways of cooling a voice coil. One is by convection cooling, that is where all the surrounding parts wick away, or rather absorb the heat from the voice coil, and the other is by increasing the air circulation in between the gap. So, but convection cooling has its limits, because eventually all the surrounding parts around the voice coil will get hot. So the only way left is to pump in more air into the voice coil gap, and then effectively creating an exhaust for that hot air. Now, for this to happen, the cone has to move to its maximum extent, and for that to happen, you need to pump in more power. So now what happens is, when you feed the voice coil with the increased power, the voice coil tends to get hotter, and when the voice coil gets hotter, the temperature, there is a drop in the SPL. Now this is an unfortunate vicious cycle, and therefore the only way is to develop better methods to circulate air into the voice coil gap. So now manufacturers claim that the speakers that their speakers can handle 1600 watts RMS, and they also claim massive XMAX figures. So how are they doing it? How do they achieve these? How do they claim to achieve these numbers? Now here is a 12-inch speaker, and they claim 1000 watts on this. This is a 4-inch voice coil, and what they have done here is, of course, as usual, they have a center vent, and they have given peripheral vents, and they have also given some kind of venting in the sides, as you can see here. And for a mid speaker with a very stiff cone, it's really amazing how this speaker can handle 1000 watts without too much of cone movement. I think even though the XMAX figures claimed on the speaker is about 8 mm, I doubt really much whether it can actually move to that extent. So having said that, with minimal air cooling, with minimal air circulation, they have managed to claim 1000 watts on this. This is a 15-inch speaker, and this has got a 4-inch edge-wound voice coil. And what's happening here is that again, it's got a very limited XMAX. It's the XMAX claimed on this is only 3 mm. It's a mid-bass speaker. They have again used peripheral venting along with a center vent. It is my favorite 15-inch mid-bass speaker, and I think it's one of the best speakers out there for the price. We'll come to the 18-inch now. The 18-inch here is an Iceman 1000 watt speaker, and here they have no other venting other than the centerpiece and the vent in the center. The claimed XMAX is about 8 mm, so they are relying purely on the cone movement to reach its maximum XMAX, thus producing air movement into this cone. Now we'll come to a very interesting driver, the Celestin. And Celestin claims that this this driver can handle 1200 watts, and their program power is double that, 2400 watts, and peak power I think is double that of 2400 watts. Now I don't know really, I have my own doubts how a 4-inch voice coil, of course it's an inside outside voice coil. By the way, this is a single side wound voice coil. Coming back to the Celestin, this is a inside outside voice coil. So the voice coil is wound, the windings are on both sides of the voice coil. What they've done here is just given a peripheral vent and a center vent. They have no other provision to cool it in any of the sides, and they still claim that you can handle, that you can pump in 2400 watts, but I don't know for how long. But the RMS figures are 1200 watts. This is the Celestin CF 1840JD. So to conclude, you can see the various technologies they have used. Each one claims that one is better than the other. They have perfected these kind of cooling technologies. But does it work in reality? Does it really translate to long-term power handling of, say, can these speakers last for about 6 hours playing continuously at the full rated wattage? That is something which I really doubt. But anyways, let us simulate it on a computer, and let us see whether we can achieve full cone movement on. Let me make this an example, and let's see whether the speaker can actually move to its full extent with the rated power. Thanks.